Hey, what is up, or not Patreon, YouTube? Everyone. All right, I got a note today. I had to do an emergency video. It's true though. I always this always worries me when I see something like this, and ultimately, I've always been a champion for all of you out there that want to draw. So, don't like start flooding me with like emails like this or notes because I don't have time to reply to them right now. But I wanted to get this up because this is really really important. So it says, "Hi Richard, I've been watching your channel for nearly 2 years now, maybe even more. I don't remember. I think it's longer actually. I know who this person is. I would say 3 years. I was on Twitter, blank blank blank. That's the timeline of when he read this particular post, and I saw a post from blah 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 blah. I normally don't care what people say, but he said that it is very hard to become a professional artist if you also have a day job. I mean, you could also throw in if you're a student or just you have some sort of obstacle that eats up a majority of your day, like responsibilities, whatever it is. And it stayed in my head and it put me down a bit. I'm 34. I've been drawing for 2 years with the goal of becoming a professional. I draw 3 to 4 hours during a work week and about 8 hours on Saturday and Sunday. And I think I'm progressing. What are your thoughts? He didn't send art, by the way. I'm not going to stop drawing, obviously, because I love it, but drawing for a living is my dream. I'm just curious what you think because I respect you, your work, and I feel like watching you all these years, you have benefited me tremendously. Look, I mean, I don't have the Journey of a Thousand Miles videos up or the vlog, which was basically Journey of a Thousand Miles before I did them, but it's really really hard, but we'll get into that in a second. Also, I'm drawing my short story now and I would like to send you a page for a critique. I'll find an appropriate tier. Speak soon, Rich. Okay, so just committing to anything in your life is challenging, you know whether it's I've dealt with so many obstacles, and I feel very fortunate, but I've had a lot of challenges along the way. I'm not even gonna lie, I don't talk about a lot of this stuff, but yeah, I've it's been hard, and I always take accountability for it though. I think that's really important. Is you can't blame your work situation, your school situation, your mental health situation, whatever it is, your physical health situation on other things that could contribute to it. But it's like, if you're not willing to just like go, I fucked up. I'm a fuck up. I procrastinate. I don't take good care of myself. Whatever it is, you're in denial and you're not going to progress anyway. And there's a lot of people like that. Myself included at times. I mean, it's just one of those things. You meet people and they're just completely delusional about what they want to do versus what they're actually doing to achieve it. So when a professional or someone tweets something like that, it's tough. Like, do athletes have a responsibility to be role models for kids? I don't think that they do. Do artists have a responsibility, inherently like encoded, and that you're an artist, and if you're going to be on social media, you need to be a cheerleader or a champion for your fans or people? I don't, but I think that it really depends on your personality. I'm not like that, so it's like I've said stupid things online. I've done stupid things online. I watch videos back and I cringe at some of the stuff that I say, and I go like, "You sound cocky or arrogant, or you sound jealous, and you're being critical of something, whatever it is." But I mean, that's like a small percentage of what I do. But it's in there and I hear it, and I have to take accountability for that. But there's this is what I said to him when I wrote him back. There's never ever a timeline where you're out of the game for a goal, ever, unless you give up. If you stop working on it, then yeah, you know what, the dream sort of stops there until you commit to pursuing it again. I think that honestly, like I'm not into this whole 10,000 hour rule, whatever that whole thing was that popped up a few years ago. But this is what I'll say is to go from not drawing at all to becoming good enough to get some sort of professional work, or be able to draw something at a level where other people are going to respond to it will take at least a year. So like if you have natural ability, in a year you'll be a little bit better than someone that maybe doesn't have as much, like things don't come as easily to them. But just in general, you're gonna need to draw for about a year and really kind of commit to it. If you're not drawing at least an hour or two a day, you're not going to make a lot of progress, and that's just the reality of it. It's there's a lot that you have to learn along the way, and I wouldn't, when I say that, I instantly start thinking of exercises, and that's not what I mean. I just think that in general you need to draw things, draw pictures, and finish them. I swear, the further I've gotten into this, I sometimes wonder if breaking things apart is the best way to learn to draw. Meaning, like, that you think of anatomy as one part of the puzzle, you think of like learning clothes as a part of the puzzle, you think of learning cars as part of the puzzle. I mean, there's only one thing that you can draw at a time, even if you're drawing a piece. But I think that there's a value to actually drawing pictures and trying to work out the picture, and then trying to fine tune the things that you had problems with. If you, in your imagination, the house that you were trying to draw was at an angle and you weren't able to do it, then that would be the time that you would want to maybe try to pursue perspective to work that out. Or if you wanted to draw a dynamic figure but your figures are stiff, then that would be the time that you would start to look at more dynamic figure drawing and try to dissect it. But I for me personally, I tried to do it the way that maybe books would recommend, which is like you sort of go through this process, and it never worked for me. Just when I started actually drawing pieces, I think that's when it really clicked. But so I draw 3 to 4 hours during the week and about 8 hours on Saturday and Sunday. I mean, that's a lot. Like 8 hours on Saturday and Sunday is a tremendous amount of time to sit and draw. So I commend you for that. And anybody that on the weekend even has 3 to 5 hours and they can actually sit and draw and not be on social media checking their Instagram or whatever during the day. Those are the biggest obstacles that I think that people will face now. Is there it's a multi-tier thing, which is people are exposed to too much art. I think this is all my own opinion because it affects me. I can't look at that much art in a day and get focused on what I want to do. I think that there's a lot of chatter online that goes a lot of different directions. You know what I mean? I'm not even going to get into it, but it's like, you know, you need to come up with what you want to draw, and you just draw it, and you don't worry about what people think about it. You don't worry about like it doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is that you are doing what you want to do with your art. This isn't about getting work at this point, but what I'm saying is, like, if you don't have a vision and you won't stick to the vision, then there's nothing to really accomplish. So, it's just one of those things. I've really kind of I've turned a lot of corners, and I think I just kind of have zero tolerance for a lot of stuff now more. But I think I had to have that ultimatum in my mind to really get where I needed to go, or at least get going in a real serious fashion. But look, if you've been drawing for 2 years and you draw, we're just gonna round down. So what it's sounding like you draw is about 20 hours a week. That's not bad at all. That's actually a lot. That's a lot more than most people draw. And if you're watching this video, count how many hours you draw, how many hours you pencil in a week. And if you draw more than 20, then pat yourself on the back. And if you don't, you're probably in the majority of the people that are watching this. Um, you know, I am always aware of time when I work, but not like literally like it sounds funny. It's not like I'm not like counting the minutes and stuff like that. But there's a certain amount of time that things need to take, and you need to be aware of it. And it's tough because sometimes people will ask me like, how long did that piece take, or how long did that piece take? take. I don't know. I can't remember that. What my point is that like there's only so many hours you're going to draw in a week because that's just the reality of life. There's only so many hours in a day. So how many hours can you draw? Well, if I have to ink 5 to 7 hours a day, then and I always work 7 days a week. I've said it a million times in these videos, but for people that don't know, it's like I do actually work every single day, and I almost never ever take a day off. Um, that's even 5 hours. That's 35 hours of inking a week, and if I do 7 to 9 hours, then it could be 63 hours worth of inking. Okay, then on top of that, how much do you think I draw? Well, I mean, I've been drawing now. My newest schedule that worked for me was 8 o'clock in the morning till noon. So I draw 4 hours a day. But on the weekends, I mean, it can get spread out. I'm trying to get myself to start drawing at night again. I haven't penciled at night in a long time. I mean, I probably have a little bit, but generally speaking, I found that if I inked all day and then tried to draw, it just never worked. So if you go to work or you go to college and you come home and you're too burnt to draw after, and this goes on for any extended period of time, then you may want to consider drawing before you go. Even if that means getting up early. If it's really your dream and something you want to do, then just bite the bullet. It's not like going to be a permanent thing. I remind myself of that. What's it's funny is uh, the carrot and the stick of like what motivates you more, pain or pleasure, like a treat or punishment. I found that the idea of actually getting work wasn't a motivator for me. I actually found that even drawing comics wasn't the motivator. The motivator for me was to get really good at art. That's the only thing that got me up for it, and really kind of want to tell my own stories. So I don't mind collaborating, to be clear though. But yeah, I mean, you really have to work out in your head what's going to get you to draw. I just think that I got into comics in such a weird way that it was unexpected, and so I never had a plan going into it. And in fact, if you've watched enough of my videos, like how clueless I was about so many things. I literally thought, because art had always been easy for me, that everybody got good at art. I really thought that. I'm telling you, I've said it in other videos. I said it a few days ago in a Patreon video. But when I got to Wildstorm, I just assumed everyone was going to get really good. You'd get good in your own way, but it's like if you had talent and you drew, you would be a badass. And honestly, that's not the case. I wish it was the case. I wish everybody got really good, but not everyone gets really good. And some people get good and then can't maintain it. So what I've found gives people the longest game is that they have to be consistent. They have to be incredibly driven. They have to be focused. They have to be willing to change. I mean, it's a whole list of things that are gonna have, you know, um, you know, give you the opportunity to have a long career drawing. So I hope that in some ways this like inspires you. And like I said, it's like I had to be really really tough on myself and just kind of like go like, all right, motherfucker, you need to get your shit together, because you're I'm trying to think of what the word is. It's I was floundering. You know what I mean? Like I would get stuff done, but I still wasn't being as effective as I could be. Floundering. I kept thinking I was like, it's a swimming term, but like it's like yeah, I don't use it that often. But yeah, um, so yeah, it's interesting because people say a lot of shit online, and it's like there's always well, not always, but I always feel like you can see it. There's always an agenda to something. There's no agenda to this message. I'm just trying to help this guy and hopefully help you. But yeah, I mean, you know, when you see people going on and on about stuff, be suspicious, because it's like, what do they say? Like, thou protesteth too much. If you have to sell people on something, it's probably bullshit. But I'm just telling you, like, you're gonna need to be able to commit to drawing to make it. You know, it's just the way that it is, and it's a hard career. I mean, that was kind of what A Journey of a Thousand Miles really was sort of formulated to do, was to prepare people for the challenges involved, because ultimately, I hate to talk in like sort of when you're repeating things you've said in other videos, but I know that people hop in at different times. But every job ends. No matter what great gig you get, at some point it has a natural lifespan, and then it goes away, and then you have to start the next thing. And you can look at even successful artists. I mean, J. Scott Campbell comes to mind for whatever reason, and it's like Gen 13 was a huge success for him. Danger Girl was a huge success for him. I think Wildsiders kind of tanked. I don't know if it did across the board, but I don't think that it ultimately did what he hoped it would do. And so, even he had to be flexible within that whole thing. And Jeff is very, very successful. A lot of people call him Scott now, but which is his name, but I know him as Jeff. But yeah, I mean, even someone as successful as him, he you have to be ready for that thing that all of a sudden your fans kind of go, I don't know, not feeling this one, and it can shake people up. I saw a long interview with Mignola, and he talked about for 6 years he couldn't draw because Hellboy had gotten so big, and there was the movie and Guillermo del Toro and all this pressure on him, and he kind of freaked out and could only write the book. I mean, I think he had every intention to write, and well, in fact, he I think started the story that he was working on. I want to say it was The Wish, multiple times. And he said he kept scrapping it, and then just ultimately in 6 years, that's a long time for someone as good as Mignola in the height of his career to clinch up. But I mean, it can happen to anyone because again, it's not a smooth road. And I'm not being critical of Wildsiders. I actually wish I would have loved to have seen a bit more of it because I thought the characters were interesting. But uh, anyone can experience that, and so it's like you always have to kind of be ready when one project ends to be able to kick ass on the next one. I mean, it's just the way that it goes. And I've had really, really cool gigs. I've had real challenging gigs. I've had jobs that are just jobs. And my hope is that for the remaining part of my career, one, I can be kind of more in the driver's seat, and two, I can avoid things that I've learned along the way, from experience. But experience comes with doing it. So, all right, don't give up your dream because someone on Twitter said something. Don't believe what you hear on YouTube all the time with people, talking about stuff. I mean, it's like you have to be able to separate, your own opinions and just, like make your own decisions for yourself. Comics, it will evolve, but there'll always be jobs in art, you know anyone that wants to draw and do fantasy and superheroes and stuff like that, 100% that will not go away. Comics may evolve into something else, but you'll still have an opportunity to draw for a living, at least for anyone that's alive right now. Now, I don't know if 150 years from now comics will still be around. I kind of think that they would be, though, to be honest. People love them. They just don't know where to buy them. An example I can give is I met some kids on Thanksgiving, and I see them every Thanksgiving because they go to this house that we stop by at, and they're teenagers now, or young teenagers, and they absolutely loved comic books, but I don't know if they would know where to buy them. You know what I mean? That's the difference. So the key is get the comics in people's hands. So that's where I think the industry failed or struggled, and that's why the creator owned stuff is so nice now, because you can deal directly with your fans, and if you have a good relationship with them, hopefully they'll elevate you to being able to do books that are pure you, which is really, really cool. So, all right, have a great day, and don't ever give up on your dreams. This come from your buddy Rich. People are dream killers. It's because they're not, just because they're not achieving their dream doesn't mean you can't achieve yours. All right, talk to you later. Bye.